whined a tiny voice. "You're sitting on me!" Ralph jumped up, apologizing. "I'm so sorry," and he looked down to see a tiny blade of grass wincing up at him. "Oh, hello. My name is Ralv. I'm sorry I sat on you. What is your name?" "My name is Grass," the whiny voice said. "Hello, Grass. Maybe you can help me. I'm new to this area, and so far I've spoken to Caribou, Monsieur Wolf, and Bison. They all had a lot to tell me, but I'm still a bit confused about where I am and what's going on with this socio-ecological system thing. Can you explain it to me?" "Well," said Grass, "did Caribou, Monsieur Wolf, or Bison explain to you the concept of the adaptive cycle?" "No. What the heck is that?" "Those silly animals are all over the place, making things more complicated than they need to be. Let me explain it to you." Grass leaned over and drew a tiny figure 8 in the sand. "All systems on Earth can be described in terms of the adaptive cycle," he said. "It describes the processes involved in the creation, reorganization, and possible destruction of a system." "Destruction? Something's going to get destroyed? That's not good," exclaimed Ralph. "Hold on, let me tell you how it works. The first stage is known as the rapid growth phase. This happens when the system is new and all kinds of processes are running in overdrive. This helps to build capital within the system, which is basically a buildup of resources and energy that may help the system to maintain its dynamics later on. The next phase is the conservation phase," continued Grass, "where the system continues to grow and build capital, but processes slow down and are more constant. These two parts of the cycle make up the for loop, which is a slow process, even if some of the processes within the rapid growth phase can be wild and unpredictable." "But what do you mean by capital? What does it look like?" "Capital can be lots of different things. In this socio-ecological system, it can mean the growth of relationships between people, or even the cottages you can see all over the shore around here. It can also mean the mature trees you see everywhere, the birds that come to those trees every spring to build nests. It's everything you see. But that's not the end of the adaptive cycle. Sometimes a system can reach a threshold. This could be, for example, something like the Great Big Fire that came through here in the year 1919. The for loop of the adaptive cycle builds capital and helps make a system resilient in the face of disturbance." "There's that word resilience again. What does it mean in this situation?" "That means that the system can deal with a lot of stress without changing the way it works. But sometimes there's too much disturbance, or a single disturbance is too big, like that fire. This causes the socio-ecological system to move into the back loop of the adaptive cycle, first with the release of resources. In the case of the fire, a lot of forest was burned away, but because of that, all kinds of nutrients were released into the surrounding environment as well. Finally, there is the reorganization phase, when the release of energy and resources allows the system to reorganize itself into a similar state, or an alternate state, or a different regime altogether." "You mean it might never be the same again?" asked Ralph. "Well, it really depends on the situation," Grass sighed. "My friends and I, for example, are native grasses. Because of all the changes that have been happening around here, overgrazing, land use changes by the humans, and fire suppression, among other things, invasive species like smooth brome have been able to squeeze me and my friends out of the system while they take over. This isn't necessarily a new regime altogether. There are still a lot of grasslands around here, but some places are changing to alternate states for sure, where other species have become dominant. Your friend Bison knows what it's like to experience a completely new regime. All of her rangeland was changed into agricultural land by the humans, and the system as the bison knew it ceased to exist in most places. But the humans seem to be coming to their senses. They're trying to conserve a bit of what once was." "Does that mean that this area is in its conservation phase?" asked Ralph. "Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, Ralph, as I imagine a lot of what you heard today was. You see, this place is not just a system on its own. It is connected to systems at different scales, all kinds of bigger and smaller systems, and it is affected by the interactions that take place between them. This is known as panarchy." "Still, I suppose a case could be made to say that this area is in its conservation phase," Grass said, gesturing around himself. "This area existed for a long time with very little disturbance from people. The Aboriginal peoples were once the only humans who lived here, and they lived in a fairly harmonious way with the rest of us. Sometimes, small systems would become stressed and reorganize as a result of their presence, but there were relatively few of them then, so they could simply move to a new area while systems recovered from the disturbances that they had caused. Not that long ago, though, European people began to colonize our home too. They established permanent settlements and created areas like the park and the cottages on this lake, places they could change to suit their interests and visit as they pleased. As a result of that, this place has entered a kind of secondary rapid growth phase, and things have changed around here quite a bit. The good news is that the humans are learning, though. They're beginning to create negative feedbacks in this area. These are processes that slow down changes in a system. This is like what they've done with the bison and her friends. They saw that the bison were in danger of going completely extinct and decided to intervene by creating spaces for them to live. Still, positive feedbacks persist within Lakeland, processes that accelerate changes. See all the cottages around the lake here? Well, humans are competitive, so every time someone knocks down one of the old small cottages to create a bigger, fancier, newer one, someone else feels as though they need to build an even bigger, fancier, and newer cottage. This means that more trees are cut down, more wildlife habitat is destroyed, and residual effects from increased human habitation, such as air and water pollution, also become a problem. Still, humans are beginning to understand the complicated nature of socio-ecological systems, and are working to make sure that we can all live here in a more or less harmonious way. The humans have created something they call a resilience assessment. This is when many human experts all get together and consider all the components and interactions within a socio-ecological system in order to establish its ability to react to change without losing key structures and functions. As a result of these efforts, the humans are able to examine where problems might exist within a system and create adaptive management policies that act as negative feedbacks, allowing us all to continue to thrive within the system. The move to conservation is a slow one, though, even when a resilience assessment has been carried out. It is by no means a solution to all the problems that exist within a socio-ecological system. Many humans still need to reach a better understanding of this place and what help it needs in order to continue to provide for everyone. "I think I understand a bit better now," said Ralv. "And perhaps Cora and I can stay a while?" "Certainly," said Grass in his small, whiny voice. "Visitors will always be welcome in Lakeland." Ralph felt as if he finally understood the place Grass called Lakeland. Although the processes, relationships, and interactions of socio-ecological systems were complicated, he knew that the longer he stayed, the greater understanding he would achieve. Not only had Ralph and Cora found a new home and learned all about socio-ecological systems, they had also made some wonderful new friends. The end.